What's up guys, PDC here, and we are going to be uploading another World Cup match in the round 2 of the World Cup of Pokemon, an official Smogon tournament, which is pretty damn big and one of my favorite tournaments on the site, and it's second to SPL. It's actually third to SPL in Smogon Tour, so it's one of my favorite tours on the site after my favorite two, if that makes any sense. But World Cup is really where I got my tournament starts, which is why every World Cup game I play, I'm going to upload, win or lose. Except for, I might not upload the one that was over 150 turns, just because of how goddamn boring it was. I'll link that in the description, though, if you guys are interested in watching it, or maybe I'll upload it eventually, I don't know. But today, we're going to be doing my round 2 game, World Cup of Pokemon versus France. We're just going to start right off. My opponent, Cicada of Team France, is using a pretty anti-balanced team with Tornadus, Volcarona, and Sableye, aka anti-PDC stuff that will beat me 10 times out of 10. And I am going to be using, actually, I guess it's kind of, it's a little more offensive than what I've used for the most part. It has stuff like Excadrill, Metagross, Alakazam, which is pretty, I guess that's kind of my signature Pokemon by now. Tyranitar, Tangrowth, and Keldeo. Tangrowth as a glue. It's a decent enough sand, bulky offense team. Me and TDK, I believe we built it the night before. Which, I guess I should have put more time into this game, which I'm kind of disappointed at how I didn't put 100% effort in, but, regardless, our team did win the week, so I guess the weight was not completely on my shoulders, and if I didn't get such a terrible matchup that I did, I definitely would have had a much better chance from the team preview from the start of the game, a team preview. But we're going to go ahead and start the game. Now, knowing that, what I expected him to do was, knowing that I hate Sableye, and Sableye absolutely fucks me in the ass, this team absolutely just gets steamrolled by Sableye, I knew that he would think that I would lead Keldeo, which is why I decided to lead with Metagross here, expecting him to lead Torn-T to combat my Keldeo. And I was right, and I decided to just go for the Meteor Mash right out the front and see if he's going to U-turn out. Now, I was debating on whether going to Hammer Arm or not, but I thought that it was possible that he would go to either Starmie or something like that, and he decides to go out to his Dimension Breach, his Ferrothorn, which I sadly take, like, a million damage in return for just a small amount of the Ferrothorn, which does not really care that much about a Meteor Mash. And considering the amount of switch-ins that Cicada has to Metagross, I kind of realized that, okay, this Pokemon isn't going to be doing all that much. Now, I actually, in the back of my head, I thought that I should mash again here, because I thought that he would double the Sableye on the Hammer Arm. But as you guys can tell, that's not what I actually did, and instead I decided to go for the Hammer Arm on the Sableye instead. And that was a good play by him, by all means. He did switch Sableye on the double, and that was a good way to get the threat out against my team real early. Now, I knew I had to play this extremely aggressively, so even to have a chance to win, I switch out my Alakazam on the burn, and now I'm going to try to beat the knockoff or something like that. So, I'm going to switch out Alakazam, obviously, since I do not, in fact, have the Dazzling Gleam, but I try to make him think I do, and decide to switch into Keldeo. Now, he's going to switch out of my Alakazam, even though Alakazam's Dazzling Gleam I don't believe would KO anyway. But he's going to go out to his Torn-T there on the Alakazam switches. I decided to go into Sableye. Good play on his part. And now I'm going to go out to my T-Tar, which he's going to go ahead and respond to with a U-turn. Now, once again, it would have been a lot smarter for me to stay in there with Keldeo because I had to play this game incredibly aggressive. But there really was not all that much I could do there. So, as he brings in his Sableye on a T-Tar, I realized I gotta get damage on this thing immediately. I was hoping he would over-predict here and go for the knockoff as I Stone Age him, but it doesn't really do that much damage, you can tell. But he's just gonna Wisp me, burn me, and render my T-Tar essentially useless for the entire game, because now T-Tar can't get Rocks up. It's, not going to be able to break Sableye, and it's going to die to a +1 Bug Buzz with the burn damage. So I realize at this point I'm really in trouble here. I go out to my Keldeo here, which I know is going to be able to scare the Sableye off, and I realize that he's going to either switch in his Starmie or turn in his T. I got to start making plays at this point, and I know that there's no way he's going to go for Ferrothorn here, so I feel pretty safe, or tip out on their Volcarona for that matter, so I feel pretty safe of just going straight for the HP Electric, which does a shit ton to that Starmie. That actually really shocked me how much it did, specs or not. The key to winning this game for me was basically trying to weaken this guy's team as much as possible, because with teams like Cicada's, If one Mun goes down, that's one less Mun, that's one less check, that's one less switch. And breaking balanced teams like his, it's really important to just start at one Mun and then expand from there. Because if you can break one Pokemon, then you can often break the rest of the team's core. Now, Starmie is going to take a lot of damage there, and this is going to help me maybe, you know, weaken the team and stuff like that. Although, Starmie really is not that huge of a threat to the rest of my team. Now, I decided to switch out here to keep the momentum, knowing that he's probably not going to sacrifice Starmie like that. And I'm going to go out to my Alakazam. Now, knowing that Alakazam's only real check on his team is, at least, he actually, you know what, Tornadus T counts as a check, but his best switch into Alakazam is Sableye. So, I'm going to go ahead and decide to keep the pressure on with a couple of these doubles. Now, he fears that I have Dazzling Gleam, so I figure he's going to go to Tornadus T here, which is why I decided to go Metagross on the switch. Now, he U-turns out here, and I figure, okay, he's going to either go... Sorry, I had to pause that there for a second, but he's going to U-turn out of my Metagross, as he predicted me to go for the Dazzling Gleam, or he suspects I have Dazzling Gleam, and he's going to go to his Volcarona, which he's going to be rewarded by getting a Flame Body Burn. And I had to pause the video again. But after he gets a Flame Body Burn, that kind of screws me over, and I go for the Zen Headbutt just to get some damage on the Volcarona, which honestly probably was not the best decision in hindsight, because if I didn't get the flinch there, I might have just lost right there. But I do get the flinch, and I decided to now switch out Metagross into my Keldeo to keep gaining momentum. My March of the Pigs is going to be able to catch the Volcarona on the roost and be able to do at least some damage to his team. Now, Specs Keldeo at this point really is my best chance to win, considering I honestly, if I were able to get rocks up, Specs Keldeo could have won. But he goes to his Tornadus T, and hoping I get the burn, I managed to go for the, I do manage to get the burn, I go for the Scald. Now, Scald, as we know, is a 100% chance burn, so I do get the burn on Tornadus Therium, which is going to be good for me, as this makes the Tornadus a little less of a check to Keldeo here. But still, it is annoying as hell and kind of dangerous for my team. Now, he's going to go ahead and U-turn out my Metagross here, which honestly is not that great for me, because this does allow Volcarona to come back in, although I guess I could technically just revenge it with Excadrill. But he's going to go to his Ferrothorn instead, and I know exactly why, because he's going to be able to get Hazards up. Hazards against my team at this point is very bad. Pretty much my best way of winning was double switching every time, racking up small residual damage and keeping momentum. But with Hazard in the field, that significantly decreases my chances of doing that. It's the same way in TPP how this stuff works with stuff like Cbzor. The best counter to Choice Band Scizor is Hazards. Or Choppleberry Heatran, whoever you ask. Or Skarmory, or something like that. But Hazards destroys momentum more often than not. And when your entire strategy revolves around double switching between stuff like Keldeo, which is neutral to spikes, obviously. Well, every mon is neutral to spikes, really, unless you have Levitate. It's pretty bad for me. Now, I do go for the HP Fire, and yes, this is the HP Fire Zam. I expect them to use Scizor, which is why I had Metagross with me, and Tangrowth and stuff like that. I decided to just see if I can keep the momentum up as much as possible, and I decided to go out to Keldeo. Now, he predicts this correctly, and he goes into his Starmie, which could get the opportunity to recover, although then again, HP Electric does more than 50%, so technically, I don't understand this play all that much, because he could have just died right here if I didn't get such a shitty roll. But anyway, I am going to HP Electric him, and while he will be slightly at a lower HP than there before, this really isn't doing all that great for me, because now I am locked into such a ridiculously weak move. Now, I guess Cicada predicted me to switch out here to keep getting momentum, so this was a good play on his part, although, to be honest, he didn't really need Starmie all that much, and he gets the recover off. Alakazam is really my only hope here at this point, and I have to somehow manage to win. If I got Stealth Rocks up, I could potentially have this game, but you know, or be in an advantage here considering how amazing Alakazam does against his team with rocks in the field. But instead, I don't. And I decided to go for the Psychic. And as you'll see, the rolls are not exactly working with me here, as I get a pretty low, and then I get a decent roll on the second Psychic. If I got a mixed roll, that would have been much better, or a high and a medium, or something like that. But it doesn't work out that way. So, as you can tell, the Hippowdon does some special defense investment, so it's going to be able to tank that Psychic. And this is going to force me to go back into Keldeo, which is really the only Pokemon on my team that can actively threaten him at this point. However, he knows that my only way to keep well, actually, I'm not really sure. I guess he was trying to predict me to keep going for the Psychic there, but I do catch the Sableye switch there. I guess he thought I was going to go for a Psychic again, or something like that, but I didn't. And he decides to go ahead and go into Sableye, and I go into Keldeo, and I get the momentum back. but I go for the Hydro Pump on his Starmie instead of HP Electric. I didn't expect him to go to Starmie there. I thought he might have went to... Yeah, I probably should have expected him to go to Starmie there. Honestly, that was probably a bad play on my part, because I should have went for the HP Electric. If I managed to eliminate Starmie, who knows how the game would have turned out. But I keep going for the Hydro Pump here. It's really just useless. I should have switched to Alakazam. I should not have went for the second Hydro Pump there, as this is just killing momentum and allowing him to heal up more and more and wasting my precious Hydro Pumps. So I decided to go back to my Luck It Up, my Alakazam. Like I said, I really need to keep the pressure on this guy as much as possible. So going to Alakazam is really the only way that I can do that. At this point, my only real hope is getting a late-game SD Excadrill sweep, though. So that's really what I gotta hope for in the back. Now, he's gonna go out to his Voyage, his Tornadus T, and I go for the Thunder... I go for the Shadow Ball. Thunderbolt. What? I go for the Shadow Ball, which does some decent enough damage with it, compounded with the burn. And realizing that he is burned, I'm not that afraid of U-turn at all. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a nice advantage hit on this team. So he's going to go out to his Dimension Breach, his Ferrothorn here, as I decide to go for a second Shadow Ball. Now, Ferrothorn at this point is not all that useful for him, so it was pretty reasonable to assume that yes, he would sack here, as I don't think he would bother risking to go back to Tornadus or something like that. But instead he decides to go to his Volcarona, and I decided to go for the HP Fire here again. And this is not all that great for me, because now it's really coming down to, okay, if this thing, you know, it's going to force me to sack T-Tar, and then I have to switch in Exca. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty much in control at this point, as I'm sure, as all of you can tell. Cicada is in control here. He really has an amazing matchup against me, and I know that there's really no way that I'm going to be able to pull this one off without extreme luck. Now, T-Tar dies, but I do get the maximum turnout I possibly can for a Childberry T-Tar. I get the maximum sand turnout, and I realize the only way to win this is hopefully, you know, get Exca in and maybe somehow force him to, you know, choke or something like that. Now, in reality, Cicada didn't have all that much of a reason to switch out here, but hoping for a choke was my really only way to win here, so that's what I decided to do as I go for the Swords Dance. But he just goes ahead and stays in and kills me, which admittedly was a good play on his part. I had to hope for a choke there. If I Rock Slided, I could have possibly had a better turnout, because I was still faster than Starmie, which I think might... I don't know. It doesn't tell me the percent. I think Starmie was around 70%, so I don't know if Earthquake KO'd or not. I think it might have, but he could have went to Ferrothorn or something like that, I guess. Or even Sableye and whisked me. Because if he... Well, I don't know. It kind of depends, really. If I did go for the Rock Slide, the game could have definitely turned out different, but I was hoping that he would possibly switch. Although now that I really think about it, him switching and keeping Volcarona does not make all that much sense. So I guess I should have just Rock Slided there. But once Excadrill goes down, I'm pretty sure you guys know that this is the start of the ending, as with my main win condition at that point in the game dead, I really didn't have all that much hope left to win this game. And with Keldio's health waning, and him being able to pretty much just sack whatever he wants until he gets a Pokemon that pretty much destroys me, aka Tornadus T-In, or I guess Starmie in this case, if it's safe, or is when I miss a Hurricane, I realize that this game is pretty much all but over, and I really don't have much of a chance to win. So he's going to go ahead and switch and keep his Starmie and just going to sacrifice his Ferrothorn, which is a pretty easy play on his part. There's really not all that much to it. And Volcarona or Tornadus pretty much just win at this point, and I really don't have much of a point of winning this game. After Excadrill went down, the game pretty much went down the tubes, and that was it. And I knew that there was no possible way that I could come out on top. I'm going to speed these final turns up here, as it's really just me hopelessly trying to find some way to hack this win through, although I know it's all impossible. And I decide to forfeit, and I lose my game. Which makes me 3-1 in World and Cup. 3-1 in World Cup. Not my coveted 4-0, which kind of sucks for me, but it doesn't really matter. It's still a pretty good ranking. And the rest of my team pulled through and absolutely smashed France's shit in, which is pretty great for me. So my loss ended up not mattering, as I believe he won with a score of 9-1. Yeah, I was the only loss. I'm pretty disappointed too. But I did lose, and I hope this is a lesson for all you people. Change up your style if you're in a tournament, because people will get a perfect team and beat your ass with it. That is all. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one. More World Cup commentaries and games will be uploaded soon. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I already said that, but I'm going to say it again. Peace.